I'm pretty sure that they're going to put me on trial at The Hague for crimes against humanity by continuing to read from the Pistis Sophia.
Gnosis is found wherever Sophia walks and is not dependent upon any school of thought.
So where sexual energy is deposited within ourselves, it's where our vitality, our creative energy is there.
Mind, body, and spirit, what we call today the three major divisions of philosophical thinking. Right. Basically, what this is depicting is the person who has self-realization unifies his body, mind, and spirit in such a way that he or she can ascend through the various dimensions of psychic exploration, spiritual creativity, and even in the worlds of science and knowledge as depicted in the book, understand astronomy and cosmology of other worlds we would call today parallel evolution. Right. You can be Christed if you find the feminine. If you do not find the feminine within you, you can be tormented by a judgmental God or a system of belief that suppresses the inner psyche.
Greetings, fellow worker slaves, podcasting at 128 kilobits from the Fortress of Squalitude, not far from the Redneck Mecca. This is the Atheist in the Trailer Park podcast. I'm your host, Tucker. Professor Fuzznuts is curled up asleep on the couch. Ash is in my room, and the new cat is still hiding under the bed. Yes, it's a podcast hosted by a guy, and these cats get over it. And this is yet more of the Pistis Sophia. Next episode will be a news episode, so you have that to look forward to. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This is a particularly bad episode of the Pistis Sophia. Oh, man. You know, if all their texts were like this, I can understand why the Catholic Church wiped the Gnostics out. So, let's give a little news about stuff around here, etc., before we subject ourselves to the torture that is the Pistis Sophia. Yesterday was the election for the local Democratic Party officials. I was lucky enough to be able to go to it, thanks to a friend who gave me a ride. And, you know, I know a lot of people complain, well, the Democrats aren't liberal enough, or they're too corporate tight. Well, if you're not involved, you can't make any changes. When we're dealing with a two-party system like we have in the U.S. right now, you're kind of locked into things. And if you show up and participate, you can push. We had to elect a new executive committee. None of the people who were on the old executive committee stood for re-election, which is fine with me. Not that I have anything against them, but, for example, one of the people has moved out of the county, so they're technically ineligible. The guy who was running the committee, he also... since he was the executive, he's also gotten elected to local office, and he sits on the state's committee. So he was doing a lot of extra work and not being paid by the party for at least some of it. I don't know if he makes any money from the state party or not. I don't think he's one of the salaried employees of the state party. I could be mistaken. But you can understand that. And he also really wasn't the best person for the job. I mentioned before, he stepped into this position after the guy who was in that seat had to give it up due to health reasons. And that guy wasn't the best either. The replacement is a woman by the name of Hannah Ali, whom I've mentioned on the podcast before. She ran for state office and lost, which is not really surprising. There's not a lot of support for Democrats in this area. And B, she's an immigrant from Pakistan. She's a doctor, and everybody likes to point out, oh, she's a moderate Muslim. I've not seen her mention her faith in any significant manner. Nobody would ever say, well, they're a moderate Christian. But she's intelligent, she's energetic, so hopefully things will start to change around here. When she was running for office, I gave her a copy of Eric Hoffer's The True Believer. Hopefully she's read it. I don't know. She hasn't said anything to me, but then again, I don't see her all that often. She doesn't always come to the events, so we'll see what happens. And I don't know. I don't know how they're going to be running things from here on out. We'll just have to see about that. I will, of course, keep you posted on all of that. And I'm still on track to go to the American Atheist Convention Easter weekend. I'll have a link in the show notes to that if you want to go. All I know is that at least part of the time I will be there, I will be at the podcasters table they were setting up. Not sure what I will be doing at the table other than hanging out. Feel free to stop by and say hey. And this raises another little issue, which I'm not sure how we're going to work it out. Because normally, that would be the weekend where Skullbeard and I record more of the Pista Sophia. We've hit a little issue. If I was still working thirds, it wouldn't be a problem. We could cut that at almost any time that I was going to be off. But because I'm now on days, it's iffy as to if we'll be able to cut it. We're trying to figure something out. We talked about cutting a second episode tonight, but that's just not going to happen. Forget what time it is that I'm recording this now. This episode was an absolute bear to get wild and convoluted, and it's not pretty, man. It's not pretty at all. So it's like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do any more of it. It's going to be hard enough listening to it to edit it. But I'll have something for you that weekend. I don't know what yet, but I'll have something for you. Again, we will try to do a recording of more of the Pista Sophia before then. As for how days has been going, well, it ain't bad. I'm doing a little more physical labor than I have when I was on nights, because nights we spend half the night prepping the meat and then half the night cleaning. Well, I don't do any more cleaning. I just prep meat all day long. The problem we ran into on Thursday was they didn't have anybody show up on third shift. So we walked in and all the equipment was still dirty. So we had to clean that before we could start, which put us behind. But the lead on days, I don't know if I mentioned this last time or not, he's told me, he goes, I think they're going to try and send you back to thirds. He goes, but I'm going to do everything I can to keep you here on days. So hopefully he'll be able to do that. He's the union rep on days, so I should be all right. And I do have a little bit of news about the new cat. It's still hiding from me most of the time, but it's getting braver. The other night, I was laying there in bed, and I felt a cat walking across my feet. Wait a minute. It's odd, because I'm sure Ash is sleeping next to me. And when I moved to look and see if Ash was still there, the cat hopped off the bed, and I see Ash is definitely still curled up beside me. So it's, it's not being a friendly little cat yet, but it's getting braver. So, that's all I can do. If I am too aggressive with it and try to reach out and pet it, and that'll just scare it, and it'll make the process take even longer. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention. When they were doing the elections for the executive committee, they also had us divide up in our, those of us who showed up to vote, et cetera, in our, what they call wards, which are for the county as part of the election process when you go vote in the elections. And what they wanted were people in the wards to agree to have a couple of folks who would serve as liaison types when they do canvassing and things like that. There were 3 people there in my ward. There was me, there was a mother and a daughter. The daughter's in her 30s and the mother's in her 60s. The daughter is on the executive committee, so she can't serve as like a liaison person, and the mother said she couldn't do it. So I agreed to do it. What my responsibilities will be, I don't know, but there probably won't be a lot, because I pointed out to him, I says, if you want to, I said, my ward is a perfect place to go canvassing, but all the people, not all, but a lot of the people in the ward are non-native English speakers, and we need somebody who speaks Spanish to be able to really reach these people. Now, supposedly we've got somebody who does speak Spanish, but I've never met this person, and I don't know. But that's what I'll be pushing for, because, I mean, most of my neighbors in the trailer park are Latino. There's a number of them around here who don't live in the trailer park, not directly across the street, but more or less. There's another trailer park owned by the same landlord. There's, I guess, a lot of Latinos living there, and there's some living in the houses around here. But so there's plenty of people. We just need a Spanish-speaking person to go around and talk to them. But so far, I haven't seen that. When I met Howard Dean, who was running to be governor of Tennessee, that was one of the things I told him. I says, I've got neighbors who would certainly be more than happy to vote Democratic, but they don't speak English very well. We need, somebody who speaks Spanish to come around and knock doors and talk to them. And he said, well, they had someone, but I don't know if they ever went around. I never heard anything about it, so we'll have to see. I will definitely, however, push for that. And again, I will keep you posted on it. I think that's everything. So with all that being said, here is Skullbeard and I bashing our heads against the wall with more of the Pista Sophia.
Chapter 91. And Jesus answered and said unto John, Finally indeed do ye question and on all with precision and certainty. But now, therefore, John, hearken, that I may discourse with thee. Everyone who hath received mysteries of the light will abide in the region up to which everyone hath received mysteries, and he hath not the power to go into the height, into the orders which are above him. So that he who hath received mysteries in the first commandment hath the power to go into the orders which are below him, that is, into all the orders of the third space, but he hath not the power to go into the height, to the orders which are above him. And he who shall receive the mysteries of the first mystery, which is the 24th mystery from without, and the head of the first space which is without, he hath the power to go into all the orders which are without him, but he hath not the power to go into the regions which are above him, or to pass through them.
And of those who have received the mysteries in the orders of the 24 mysteries, everyone will go into the region in which he hath received mysteries, and he will have the power to pass through all the orders and spaces which are without him, but he hath not the power to go into the higher orders which are above him, or to pass through them. You just said that, asshole. And he who hath received mysteries in the orders of the first mystery, which is in the third space, hath the power to go into all the lower orders which are below him, and to pass through all. But on the other hand, he hath not the power to go into the regions which are above him, or to pass through them. Again, you just said this. And he who hath received the mysteries of the first thrice spiritual, which ruleth over the 24 mysteries altogether, which rule over the space of the first mystery, of whose region at the expansion of the universe I will tell you, he therefore who shall receive the mystery of that thrice spiritual hath the power to go down into all the orders which are below him, but he hath not the power to go into the height, into the orders which are above him, that is into all the orders of the space of the ineffable. No, I think we can F the fuck out of this.
Oh, yes. I was just going to say. And he who hath received the mystery of the second thrice spiritual hath the power to go into all the orders of the first thrice spiritual, and to pass through them all and all the orders which are in them, and he hath not the power to go into the higher orders of the third thrice spiritual. Which I could swear you basically just said, but whatever. And he who hath received the mystery of the third thrice spiritual, who ruleth over the three thrice spirituals and the three spaces of the first mystery altogether, hath the power to go into all the orders which are below him, but he hath not the power to go into the height, into the orders which are above him, that is, into the orders of the space of the ineffable. And I think they effed that. And he who hath received the master mystery of the first mystery of the ineffable, that is the 12 mysteries of the first mystery altogether, which rule over all the spaces of the first mystery, he therefore, who shall receive that mystery, hath the power to pass through all the orders of the spaces of the three thrice spirituals and the three spaces of the first mystery, and all their orders, and hath the power to pass through all the orders, the inheritances of the light, to pass through them from without within, and from within without, and from above below, and from below above, and from the height to the depth, and from the depth to the height, and from the length to the breadth, and from the breadth to the length. In a word, he hath the power to pass through all the regions of the inheritances of the light, and he hath the power to abide in the region where he pleaseth in the inheritance of the light kingdom. Hey, these guys got problems with geometry.
Yeah.
11-dimensional chess or something.
Yeah. And amen, I say unto you, that man will, at the dissolution of the world, be king over all the orders of the inheritance of the light, and he who shall receive that mystery of the ineffable, which I am, wow, chicka, wow, wow, that mystery knoweth why the darkness hath arisen, and why the light hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the darkness of the darkness hath arisen, and why the light of the lights hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the chaos hath arisen, and why the treasury of the light hath arisen. Jeez.
Yeah, rise and shine.
Yeah.
And that mystery knoweth why the judgments have arisen, and why the light land in the region of the inheritances of the light have arisen, and that mystery knoweth why the chastisements of the sinners have arisen, and why the rest of the kingdom of the light hath arisen, and that mystery knoweth why the sinners have arisen, and why the inheritances of the light have arisen. I know why the sinners have arisen.
Yeah. And that mystery knoweth why the impious have arisen, and why the good have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the chastisements and judgments have arisen, and why all the emanations of the light have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the sins have arisen, and why the baptisms and the mysteries of the light have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the fire of chastisement hath arisen, and why the seals of the light, so that the fire should not harm them, have arisen.
And that mystery knoweth why wrath hath arisen, and why peace hath arisen, and that mystery knoweth why slander hath arisen, and why songs of the light have arisen, and that mystery knoweth why the prayers of the light have arisen.
And that mystery knoweth why cursing hath arisen, and why blessing hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why knavery hath arisen, and why deceit hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the slaying hath arisen, and why the quickening of the souls hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why adultery and fornication hath arisen, and why purity hath arisen.
I know why adultery and fornication arose.
Yeah, and that mystery can go fuck itself.
In the ear with a rusty cordless drill. And that mystery knoweth why intercourse hath arisen, and why continence hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why insolence and boasting have arisen, and why humbleness and meekness have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why tears have arisen, and why laughter hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why slander hath arisen, and why good report hath arisen. Hey, slander gets a couple of mentions here. What the hell?
And that mystery knoweth why appreciation hath arisen, and why disdain of men hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why murmuring hath arisen, and why innocence and humbleness have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why sin hath arisen, and why purity hath arisen. We just said that. And that mystery knoweth why strength hath arisen, and why weakness hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the motion of body hath arisen, and why its utility hath arisen.
And that mystery knoweth why poverty hath arisen, and why wealth hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the freedom of the world hath arisen, and why slavery hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why death hath arisen, and why life hath arisen. Oh, great, more and the mystery knoweth.
Oh, goody. It came to pass, then, drink, when Jesus had finished saying these words unto his disciples, that they rejoiced in great joy and exulted when they heard Jesus say these words. And Jesus continued again in the discourse and said unto them, Hearken therefore now still further, O my disciples, so that I discourse with you concerning the whole gnosis of the mystery of the ineffable. And we can just fuck that fucking ineffable.
Oh, absolutely. That mystery of the ineffable knoweth why unmercifulness hath arisen, and why mercifulness hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why ruin hath arisen, and why everlasting eternity hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the reptiles have arisen, and why they will be destroyed. Really? They know about giant asteroids? Awesome.
And that mystery knoweth why the wild beasts have arisen, and why they will be destroyed. So they know about the 6th grade extinction, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And that mystery knoweth why the cattle have arisen, and why the birds have arisen. Notice they're not destroyed. And that mystery knoweth why the mountains have arisen, and why the precious stones therein have arisen.
Okay, so they know a little bit about geology as well. And that mystery knoweth why the matter of gold hath arisen, and why the matter of silver hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the matter of copper hath arisen, and why the matter of iron and of stone hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the matter of lead hath arisen.
And that mystery knoweth why the matter of glass hath arisen, and why the matter of wax hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why herbs, that is, the vegetables, have arisen, and why all matters have arisen. So why not just say that last part, that all this other shit? And that mystery knoweth why the waters of the earth and all things in them have arisen, and why also the earth hath arisen.
And that mystery knoweth why the seas and the waters have arisen, and why the wild beasts of the sea have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the matter of the world hath arisen, and why it, the world, will be utterly destroyed. Why didn't they just skip to that last fucking line and cut out all the bullshit?
Maybe they're paid by the word.
Yeah, I think they've been padding it a little.
Chapter 93. Jesus continued again and said unto his disciples, Yet further, O my disciples and companions and brethren, let every one be sober in the spirit which is in him. Let him understand and comprehend all the words which I shall say unto you. For from now on will I begin to discourse with you concerning all the gnosis of that ineffable. I thought that's what we'd been doing. That mystery knoweth why the west hath arisen, and why the east hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the south hath arisen, and why the north hath arisen. Yet further, O my disciples, hearken and continue to be sober, and hearken to the total gnosis of the mystery of the ineffable.
So the south shall rise again. No. That mystery knoweth why the demons have arisen, and why mankind hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the heat hath arisen, and why the pleasant air hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the stars have arisen, and why the clouds have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the earth became deep, and why the water became thereon.
And that mystery knoweth why the earth became dry, and why the water came thereon. And that mystery knoweth why famine hath arisen, and why superfluity hath arisen. They know about superfluids. Wow, that's impressive. And that mystery knoweth why the hoarfrost hath arisen. Well, that's because you didn't pay her. And why the healthful dew hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the dust hath arisen, and why the delightsome freshness hath arisen.
Yes. And that mystery knoweth why the dust hath arisen, and why the delightsome freshness hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the hail hath arisen, and why the pleasant snow hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the west wind hath arisen, and why the east wind hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the fire of the height hath arisen, and why the waters have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the east wind hath arisen. Possibly miscopied.
And that mystery knoweth why the south wind hath arisen, and why the north wind hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the stars of heaven and the discs of the light givers have arisen, and why the firmament with all its veils hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the rulers of the spheres have arisen, and why the sphere with all its regions hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the rulers of the aeons have arisen, and why the aeons with their veils have arisen.
Well, that's so you can't look on them with lust, isn't it? All right. And that mystery knoweth why the tyrant rulers of the aeons have arisen, and why the rulers who have repented have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the servitors have arisen, and why the decans have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the angels have arisen, and why the archangels have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the lords have arisen, and why the gods have arisen. Really? More than one god? Cool.
And that mystery knoweth why the jealousy in the height hath arisen, and why concord hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why hate hath arisen, and why love hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why discord hath arisen, and why concord hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why avarice hath arisen, and why renunciation of all hath arisen, and love of possessions hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why love of the belly hath arisen, and why satiety hath arisen.
I know why the concord hath arisen. If you put enough thrust on a barn door, you can fly.
Yep.
That and the Bernoulli principle. But and that mystery knoweth why the paired have arisen, and why the unpaired have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why impiety hath arisen, and why fear of God hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the light givers have arisen, and why the sparks have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the thrice powerful have arisen, and why the invisibles have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the forefathers have arisen, and why the purities have arisen.
That mystery knoweth why the great self-willed hath arisen, and why his faithful hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the great triple powerful hath arisen, and why the great invisible forefather hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the 13th aeon hath arisen, and why the region of those of the midst hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why receivers of the midst have arisen, and why the virgins of the light have arisen. But what about gorillas in the midst?
Jane Goodall, eat your heart out. And that mystery knoweth why the ministers of the midst have arisen, and why the angels of the midst have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the light land hath arisen, and why the great receiver of the light hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the guards of the region of the right have arisen, and why the leaders of them have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the gate of life hath arisen, and why Sabaoth the good hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the region of of the right hath arisen, and why the light land, which is the treasury of the light, hath arisen. And that mystery knows why the emanations of the light have arisen, and why the 12 saviors have arisen.
And that mystery knoweth why the 3 gates of the treasury of the light hath arisen, and why the 9 guards have arisen. Well, those are the Nagazul, right? You know, they were used to be the ring wraiths. And that mystery knoweth why the twin saviors have arisen, and why the 3 amens have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the 5 trees have arisen, and why the 7 amens have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the mixture which existeth not hath arisen, and why it is purified. How can something that does not exist arise?
Then be purified. It's a mystery to me.
Wrapped up in an enigma shoved up somebody's dark ass.
Yep. And Jesus continued again and said unto his disciples, Still further, O my disciples, be sober. Lame. And let every one of you bring hither the power of sensing the light before him, like eyes, and ye may sense with sureness. From now on I will discourse with you concerning the whole region of truth of the ineffable, and concerning the matter how it is. It came to pass then, drink, when the disciples had heard Jesus utter these words, that they gave way and let go entirely.
Then Mary Magdalene came forward, threw herself at the feet of Jesus, kissed them, and wept aloud, and said, Have mercy upon me, Lord, for my brethren have heard and let go of the words which thou saidst unto them. Now therefore, my Lord, concerning the gnosis of all the things which thou hast said, that they are in the mystery of the ineffable. But I have heard thee say unto me, From now on I will begin to discourse with you concerning the total gnosis of the mystery of the ineffable. This word, therefore, which thou saidst, thou hast not gone forward to complete the word. For this cause, therefore, my brethren have heard and let go, and ceased to sense in what manner thou discoursest with them, concerning the word which thou saidst unto them. Now, therefore, my Lord, if the gnosis of all this is in that mystery, where is the man who is in the world, who hath the ability to understand that mystery with all its gnosises, and the type of all these words which thou hast spoken concerning it? In other words, we don't understand shit, man. You talking all kinds of crazy jibber jabber. You gotta stop that and start making some science.
Yep. It came to pass then, drink, when Jesus had heard Mary say these words, and knew that the disciples had heard and had begun to let go, that he encouraged them, and said unto them, Grieve no more, my disciples, concerning the mystery of the ineffable, thinking that ye will not understand it. Amen, I say unto you, that mystery is yours, and everyone's who will give ear unto you, so that they renounce this whole world and the whole matter therein, and renounce all the evil thoughts therein, and renounce all the cares of this eon. Wait a minute. Renounce this whole world and the whole matter therein. These guys are decidedly anti-reality.
Yeah.
Now therefore I say unto you, for everyone who will renounce the whole world and all therein, and will submit himself to the Godhead. Oh, I had that once. That mystery is far easier than all the mysteries of the light kingdom, and it is sooner to understand than them all. And it is easier than them all. He who reacheth unto the gnosis of that mystery renounceth this whole world and all the cares therein.
For this cause have I said to you aforetime, All ye who are heavy under your burden, come hither unto me, and I will quicken. For my burden is easy, and my yoke is soft. Now therefore, he who receive that mystery renounceth the whole world and the cares of all the matter therein. For this cause, therefore, my disciples, grieve not, thinking that ye will not understand that mystery, Amen, I say unto you, that mystery is far sooner to understand than all mysteries. And amen, I say unto you, that mystery is yours and everyone's who will renounce the whole world and the whole matter therein. Now, therefore, hearken, my disciples and my companions and my brethren, that I may urge you on to the gnosis of the mystery of the ineffable, concerning which I discourse with you, because I have in Booth, I guess he's Canadian, gotten as far as to tell you the whole gnosis at the expansion of the universe, for the expansion of the universe is its gnosis.
Oh, so they know about Big Bang cosmology. Cool. But now then, hearken, that I may discourse with you progressively concerning the gnosis of that mystery. That mystery knoweth wherefore the 5 helpers have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the great light of lights hath rent itself asunder, and wherefore it hath come forth from the fatherless. Sometimes I feel... No, that's a motherless child. Never mind. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the first commandment hath rent itself asunder, and wherefore it hath divided itself into the 7 mysteries, and wherefore it is named the first commandment, and wherefore it hath come forth from the fatherless. So they know about parthenogenesis. Cool. I'm sensing we may be running into a string of rent asunders.
Yeah. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the great light of lights hath rent itself asunder, wherefore it hath come forth from the fatherless. Is that not what you just read? And that mystery knoweth wherefore the first commandment hath rent itself asunder, and wherefore it hath divided itself into the 7 mysteries, and wherefore it is named the first commandment, and wherefore it hath come forth from the fatherless. Okay. So, somehow, I am the Lord thy God, thou shalt have no other gods before me, has just been ripped apart by this?
Yep, rent asunder, as it were. Mm-hmm. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the great light of the impressions of the light hath rent itself asunder, and wherefore it hath set itself up without emanations. Poor guy. And wherefore it hath come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the first mystery, that is the 24th mystery, from without hath rent itself asunder, and wherefore it is it imitated in itself the 12 mysteries according to the numbering of the uncontainables and boundless, and wherefore it hath come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 12 immovables have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have set themselves with all their orders, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. Whew.
And that mystery knoweth wherefore the unwaverables have rent themselves asunder, wherefore they have set themselves up, divided into the 12 orders, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless, which belong to the orders of the space of the ineffable. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the incomprehensibles, which pertain to the second space of the ineffable, have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 12 undesignatables have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have set themselves up after all the orders of the unindicatables, themselves being uncontainable and boundless, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless.
And that mystery knoweth wherefore these unindicatables have rent themselves asunder, they who have not indicated themselves nor brought themselves into publicity according to the economy of the one and only, the ineffable, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the super deeps have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have distributed themselves, being a single order, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth, wherefore the 12 orders of the unspeakables have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have divided themselves, being 3 portions, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless.
And that mystery knoweth wherefore all the imperishables, being their 12 orders, have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have settled themselves, being expanded in a single order, and wherefore they have divided themselves and formed different orders, being uncontainable and boundless, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the impassibles have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have set themselves up, being 12 boundless spaces, and have settled themselves, being 3 orders of spaces, according to the economy of the one and only, the Ineffable, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless.
And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 12 uncontainables, which belong to the orders of the one and only, the Ineffable, have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless, until they were brought to the space of the first mystery, which is the second space. Wow. The mental gymnastics, man. I really gotta warm up before we do this shit, because I'm gonna pull something.
Yeah.
And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 24 myriads of praise singers have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have extended themselves outside the veil of the first mystery, which is the twin mystery, that which looketh within and without of the one and only, the Ineffable, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore all the uncontainables have rent themselves asunder, those which I have just named, which are in the regions of the second space of the Ineffable, which is the space of the first mystery, and wherefore the incontainables and boundless have come forth from the fatherless. Wow. Getting a headache here.
I know. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 5 trees of the first thrice spiritual have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have extended themselves, standing one behind the other, moreover bound one to the other with all their orders, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 5 trees of the second thrice spiritual have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 5 trees of the third thrice spiritual have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. Man, this is like fucking Lord of the Rings on Quaaludes.
Oh, yeah. With a handful of diazepines.
Yeah.
And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 5 trees of the second thrice spiritual have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 5 trees of the third thrice spiritual have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth why the 4 uncontainables of the first thrice spiritual have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 4 uncontainables of the second tri-spiritual, hey, that's a new one, have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless.
And that mystery knoweth wherefore all the 4 uncontainables of the third thrice spiritual have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the first thrice spiritual from below, those who belong to the orders of the one and only, the Ineffable, hath rent itself asunder, and wherefore it hath come forth from the second thrice spiritual. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the third thrice spiritual, that is the first thrice spiritual from above, hath rent itself asunder, and wherefore it hath come forth from the 12th thrice spiritual, which is in the last region of the fatherless.
So have all these other thrice spirituals been amateurs?
I don't know.
Thrice spiritual or has he just been at it for like 10,000 hours? Kind of
And
like
if they're all interlinked, are they really separate?
it's a mystery. And that mystery knoweth wherefore all the regions which are in the space of the ineffable and all those in them have expanded themselves, and wherefore they have come forth from the last limb of the ineffable. And that mystery knoweth itself, wherefore it hath rent itself asunder to come forth from the ineffable, that is, from that which ruleth them all and which expanded them all according to their orders. Whoa.
Of all these, then, I will speak unto you. No, please don't. At the expansion of the universe, obviously the universe is filled with this guy's hot air. In a word, all those whom I have spoken of unto you, those who will arise and those who will come, those who will emanate and those who will come forth, and those who are without over them, and those who are implanted in them, those who will contain the region of the first mystery, and those who are in the space of the ineffable. Of these I will speak unto you, because you have nothing better to do. It's the Iron Age, and television has not been invented yet. Because I will reveal them unto you, and I will speak of them unto you according to every region, and according to every order. Oh, please don't. At the expansion of the universe. And I will reveal unto you all their mysteries which rule over them all, and their pro-thrice spirituals and their super-thrice spirituals, which rule over their mysteries and their orders.
Whoa, we got super thrice spirituals now.
Yeah.
You want to put bets on whether we get to super duper thrice spirituals?
Oh, God, I hope not.
Oh, I love the margin note for this next bit. Of the mystery succinctly.
You want to lay money that it will be neither? It
Yes.
will not really be of the mystery, nor will it be succinct.
I got a quarter that I just threw on the floor that says it will not be succinct. Now therefore the mystery of the ineffable knoweth wherefore all these have arisen, of whom I have spoken unto you in openness, and through which all these have arisen. It is the mystery which is in them all, and it is the outgoing of them all, and it is the upgoing of them all, and it is the setting up of them all. And the mystery of the ineffable is the mystery which is in all these, of whom I have spoken to you, and of whom I will speak unto you at the expansion of the universe. And it is the mystery which is in them all, and it is the one only mystery of the ineffable, and the gnosis of all these, of whom I have spoken unto you, and of whom I will speak unto you, and of whom I have not spoken. Of these will I speak unto you at the expansion of the universe, and of their total gnosis one with another, wherefore they have arisen. It is the one and only word of the ineffable. Ooh, I'm gonna guess.
Yep. And I will tell you the expansion of all the mysteries, and the types of every one of them, and the manner of their completion in all their figures. And I will tell you the mystery of the one and only, the ineffable, and all its types, and its figures, and its whole economy, socialist, Marxist, what? Wherefore it hath come forth from the last limb of the ineffable, for that mystery is the setting up of them all. Oh, and this paragraph note, of the one and only word of the ineffable. It's got to be fuck.
Moment of truth here. And that mystery of the ineffable is moreover also a one and only word which existeth in the speech of the ineffable, and it is the economy of the solution of all the words which I have spoken unto you. And he who will receive the one and only word of that mystery which I shall now say unto you, and all its types, and all its figures, and the manner of accomplishing its mystery, for ye are perfect and all perfect, and ye will accomplish the whole gnosis of that mystery, which is with its whole economy, for unto you all mysteries are entrusted. Hearken therefore now that I may tell you that mystery which is
Blank.
fucking blank.
That's just perfect.
Bastards.
He then who shall receive the one and only word of that mystery which I have told you, if he cometh forth out of the body of the matters of the rulers, and if the retributive receivers come and free him from the body of the matter of the rulers, that is, those receivers who free him from the body, all outgoing souls, when therefore the retributive receivers free the soul which hath received this one and only mystery of the ineffable. So why did we have these 90 odd other books if there's only one mystery of the ineffable? Which I have just told you, then will it straightway, if it be set free from the body of matter, become a great light stream in the midst of those receivers. Perhaps a golden light stream? And the receivers will be exceedingly afraid of the light of that soul, and the receivers will be made powerless and fall down and desist altogether for fear of the great light which they have seen.
Okay, I'm calling bullshit on this. And the soul which receiveth the mystery of the ineffable will soar into the height, being a great light stream, and the receivers will not be able to seize it, and will not know how the way is fashioned upon which it will go, for it becometh a great light stream, and soareth into the height, and no power is able to hold it down at all, nor will they be able to come nigh it at all. Okay, that's one way of saying it. But it will pass through all the regions of the rulers and all the regions of the emanations of the light, and it will not give answers in any region, nor giveth it any apologies, nor giveth it any tokens, nor will any power of the rulers, nor any power of the emanations of the light be able to come nigh that soul. But all the regions of the rulers and all the regions of the emanations of the light, every one singeth unto it praises in the regions, in fear of the light of the stream which envelopeth that soul, until it passeth through them all, and goeth to the regions of the inheritance of the mystery which it hath received. That is, to the mystery of the one and only, the ineffable, and until it becometh one with its limbs. Amen, I say unto you, it will be in all the regions in the time a man shooteth an arrow. That's like tremendously circular and convoluted, and they didn't say a fucking thing.
Now therefore, amen, I say unto you, every man who will receive that mystery of the ineffable, and accomplish it in all its types and all its figures, he is a man in the world, but he towereth above all angels, and will tower still more above them all. So is he the Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man? He is a man in the world, but he towereth above all archangels, and will tower still more above them all. He is a man in the world, but he towereth above all tyrants, and will raise himself above them all. Why don't you just say he is a man in the world who will tower above everything, and we can skip all this?
Yeah, he's some kind of big tough guy, I guess. He is a man in the world, but he towereth above all lords, and will raise himself above them all. He's a man in the world, but he towereth above all the gods, and will raise himself above them all. He is a man in the world, but he towereth above all light givers, and will raise himself above them all. He is a man in the world, but he towereth above all pure ones, and will raise himself above them all. He is a man in the world, but he towereth above all triple powers, and will raise himself above them all. What about double powers, superpowers,
quadruple powers, quintuple powers? He is a man in the world, but he towereth above all forefathers, and will raise himself above them all. He is a man in the world, but he towereth above all invisibles, and will raise himself above them all. He is a man in the world, but he towereth above the great invisible forefather, and will raise himself above him. He is a man in the world, but he towereth above all those of the midst, and will raise himself above them all. He is a man in the world, but he towereth above all the emanations of the treasury of light, and will raise himself above them all.
He is a man in the world, but he towereth above the mixture, and will raise himself entirely above it. He is a man in the world, but he towereth above the whole region of the treasury, and will raise himself entirely above it. He is a man of the world, but he will rule with me in my kingdom. He is a man in the world, but he is king of the light. He is a man of the world, but he is not one of the world. And amen, I say unto you, that man is I, and I am that man.
This is getting awfully messianic.
You think?
And at the dissolution of the world, that is when the universe will be raised up, and when the numbering of the perfect souls will be raised up all together, and when I am king in the midst of the last helper, hamburger helper, being king over all the emanations of the light, and king over the 7 amens, and the 5 trees, and the 3 amens, and the 9 guards, and being king over the child of the child, that is the twin saviors. Who might they be? And being the king over the 12 saviors. Who are they? And over the whole numbering of the perfect souls who shall receive the mysteries in the light, then will all men who shall receive the mysteries in the ineffable be fellow kings with me, and will sit on my right and on my left in my kingdom.
You just stay the hell out of my ineffable. And amen, I say unto you, those men are I, and I am they.
And we are all together.
So not only is he quite the narcissist, he's also suffering from multiple personality disorder? I don't know. On this account have I said unto you aforetime, ye will sit on your thrones on my right and on my left in my kingdom, and will rule with me. On this account, therefore, I have not hesitated, nor have I been ashamed to call you my brethren and my companions, because ye will be fellow kings with me in my kingdom. This, therefore, I say unto you, knowing that I will give you the mystery of the ineffable, that is, that mystery is I, and I am that mystery.
No.
In a riddle stuffed deep inside someone's enigma.
Well, that's one way to put it. Now, therefore, not only will ye reign with me, but all men who shall receive the mystery, bow, chicka, wow, wow, of the ineffable, will be fellow kings with me in my kingdom. And I am they, and they are I. But my throne will tower over them. And because ye will suffer sorrows in the world beyond all men, until ye herald forth all the words which I shall speak unto you, your thrones shall be joined to mine in my kingdom. On this account I have said unto you aforetime, where I shall be, there will be also my 12 ministers. But Mary Magdalene and John, the virgin, John's a virgin, will tower over all my disciples, and over all men who shall receive the mysteries in the ineffable. And they will be on my right and on my left, and I am they, and they are I.
And they will be like unto you in all things, save that your thrones will tower over theirs, and my throne will tower over yours. And all men who will find the word of the ineffable, amen, I say unto you, the men who shall know that word will know the gnosis of all these words, which I have spoken unto you, both those of the depth, and those of the height, and those of the length, and those of the breadth. In a word, they will know the gnosis of all these words which I have spoken unto you, and which I have not yet spoken unto you, which I will speak unto you, region by region, and order by order, at the expansion of the universe. And amen, I say unto you, they will know in what manner the world is established, and they will know in what type all those of the height are established, and they will know out of what ground the universe hath arisen.
I say we put a pin in it there.
Okay. I will not argue with you there.
Yes, man.
Chapter 97 looks like a motherfucker, and I think I pulled something trying to do mental gymnastics.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely... I'm definitely wobbly and lightheaded over this.
Yeah.
And 98 looks to be even worse.
Oh, Jesus. How could it be worse? Making it worse?
Yeah.
Oh, And it's a long one. No, let's let's pull the plug now.
Yeah.
While we still have our sanity.
Yeah.
That's it for this episode of The Atheist in the Trailer Park Podcast. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, as well as just about anywhere else podcasts can be found. Many of the episodes are also on YouTube. Follow the show on Twitter. @TParkAtheist is the show's Twitter handle. It's on Facebook at facebook.com/trailerparkatheist.com. If you happen to like the podcast, please rate it on iTunes. If you'd like to support the podcast, there's a donate button on the show notes page. You can support it via Patreon at patreon.com/TNTucker. Thanks for listening.
Say goodnight, Fuznuts.
All I know is this violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
Damned cat.